everybody, it's Caitlin with Fourth Edition Games. I'm kind of going rogue this morning while James is at work. I'm going to do a video by myself. I think he's going to be impressed that I can do it all by myself and post it, hopefully. I'm just going to do a quick overview of Wingspan and then how to play it. Me and James both really like this game. We play it 2-player, plays good. We also enjoy it with 4 players. We've never played 1-player. They do have an automa that you can play with. We haven't played with that. This game is really beautiful. All the cards are beautiful. All the pieces are beautiful. You're playing cards and kind of getting like an engine builder. You're triggering things, which gives you more resources and actions. We do have an expansion for this game, the European expansion. It adds a new type of bird to the game, which triggers at the end of the round. So it will give you resources in between rounds, which is really neat. They also, with the expansion, give you a new score pad that has a side for when you're playing by yourself. This game is pretty easy to teach. We've taught it to my parents, which don't play board games at all, and they really enjoy it. And we've taught it to people who play a lot of board games, and they really enjoy it. The newer Wingspans, when you buy them, they come with like a little packet of how to teach. It's supposed to help be able to teach it a lot more streamlined, but we find it pretty easy to teach. We've talked to a lot of different people, and it seems to be pretty quick, and you can pretty much just get in and play it. So I'm going to just show you how to play it real quick. Okay, so here we've got a setup for 2 players. Each player has their own player board. There's not a main board. This is the boards that come with the game. They're like a cardboard. They fold in half. They're really nice. We actually spent a little bit extra money to get the neoprene mats from the publisher, just because we really like the way they feel, and we actually got them cheaper because they had printed a whole bunch that were they said 5% too small. The cards barely fit there. They're a little small, but we got a deal on them and we really like them. So this is what your player mat looks like. To set up the game, you get all the food out, all the eggs out. You put the dice in this little bird feeder. You have a scorecard that has 2 sides, a blue side and a green side. It's the way you score your points at the end of each round. The green side is a little bit more competitive than the blue side. Also, with the expansion, they recommend playing with the green side. There's a whole bunch of these score tiles. You just randomly choose them and put them down, and they tell you how you're going to score points for each round. So the ones I randomly chose for this is round 1. You get a point for each bird with this tree nest that has an egg on it. So you're getting points for each bird you have with that type of nest with an egg. Round 2, you'd get points for a set of 3 eggs in water, grass, and your forest habitat. Round 3, you get a point for each egg in that type of nest. So you'll have a bird on your mat with that type of nest, like this. And then you'd get a point for each egg in that type of nest. And then round 4, you get a point for each bird with this stone nest with an egg in it. Each bird card has a lot of information on it. In this corner, it'll tell you where the bird can live. This bird can live in each type of habitat. And then it tells you the cost of the bird, so the food cost, to lay the bird down on your mat. This costs 3 rats. There is an asterisk. This is a card from the expansion. And instead of paying 3 rats, you can discard a card for your hand per rat to discount the cost. Then on the card is a number with a feather. That's how many victory points this bird is worth at the end of the game. And then there's the nest type that bird has. There are birds with a star, and that means they can be any type of nest you need them to be for that round for scoring or for a bonus card. And then there's a little tiny picture of an egg or multiple eggs, and that's how many eggs that bird can hold in their nest. And then underneath all of that are text, and that's the power or the ability that bird has. There's several different colors of abilities. These pink abilities trigger on someone else's turn, but only once per round. So if all your 3 other opponents do whatever it is that triggers it, you only get the benefit once. These brown triggers, the brown abilities, trigger when you take the action that bird is in, and I'll explain that in a minute. The white powers usually are when played. It'll say when played. It'll have a certain ability that happens when you play it. And there are in the expansion birds with these teal powers, and they trigger at the end of the round. So before you score points for the end of the round, these birds trigger and usually do something for you. So 7th game, once you have everything set up, you deal each player 5 bird cards. And 2 of these greenback cards, they're bonus cards. They're how you can individually score victory points at the end of the round. They usually, like this one says, birds in your habitat with the fewest birds in your habitat with the fewest birds. So let's say you have 4 and 2 habitats and 3 in this habitat. You're going to get 2 points for your 3 habitat because that's your habitat with the fewest birds in it, and then you get 2 points for birds. This says birds that eat wheat. So if you, for whatever bird you have that eats wheat, if you have 5 to 7 of them birds, you get 3 points. That's it. If you have 8 or more of the birds that you eat, you get 7 points. What I do like about this game is that on the bonus cards, these cards, they actually tell you at the bottom how the percentage of cards that meet this. So this says 44% of cards. So 44% of cards in the game eat wheat. So then you know your chances are pretty good. There are some where the percentages are really low, like 12%, but then those are worth more victory points. So to start, you choose one of these victory point cards you want to try to go for. There are birds throughout the game that will give you additional victory point cards, but to start you just have one. You discard the other one, and then you look at your bird cards. For each bird that you want to keep before you start the game, you have to pay a food cost. It can be whatever food you want, but you have to pay 1 food per bird you keep. So you start the game out with 1 type of food. So let's say I want to keep these 2 birds. You choose, I'm going to get rid of these 3. They go into a discard pile. You choose 2 foods to get rid of. You probably don't want to get rid of wheat because that's what this bird costs to play it. When you see a wheel like that, it's 1 type of any food. So this one costs a wheat and then 1 type of any other food. And this is a vulture. It actually costs no food to put down. So I would pay this fish because I'll need the fish right away, and then maybe the rat because I don't need the rat right away. So, and then that would be how I would start the game. On your turn, when it's your turn, there's a first player marker that will go around after each round. This game plays in 4 rounds. So on your turn, you can do one of 4 things, and the things you can do are listed on the left-hand side of your player mat. So the top says play a bird, gain food from the bird feeder, you can gain what is shown, lay eggs, so the birds you have down, you can lay eggs on them, so you can't take that action unless you have birds down, or draw bird cards. Now, what's really cool about this game is when you're laying birds or taking these actions, you take the first available spot on the left-hand side. So the more birds that you lay down on your mat, the greater reward you get for taking that action. So if you want to lay a bird, your first bird in this column is going to be free eggs, but then you also have to pay whatever food cost it says. So if I wanted to play this bird goes in the forest habitat. That's where the only place it can go. I play it there. I play a wheat and then whatever other kind of food I choose. Every time you take an action, you have these little 8 cubes. These mark what action you took. So I went here, I played this bird, no egg cost, food cost I paid, then this moves over. I have taken 1 action. Then it'll go around the board and I get to come back and now I have 7 actions left in the first round. So I'll take this little marker and decide where I want to go. If I want to do lay eggs, I put my marker here because this is the first available spot. I get 2 eggs, it doesn't matter what color. I lay them on my only bird available. It can hold 2 eggs. Then I move this. It shows I'm done with my turn. I've done my action and the next person can go. Let's say I want to go here and draw a card. Here, the spot I can take is this. It says 1 card. You can either draw from the top or you can draw one of the cards that are showing and you put it in your hand. So let's say I take this guy. Move this over. My turn's done. We refill. When you choose to take an action that has cards in it with the brown power, they activate also. So let's say now I want to take food from the bird feeder. I put my little dial there. This is the spot, so it says I get to take 1 food from the bird feeder. You get to choose, so let's say I want to take a wheat. I get a wheat from the supply. Then, optional, you can discard a card from your hand to get another food from the bird feeder. Now, with the bird feeder, you have to take what's available unless there is the same type of food left. You can choose to re-roll. So let's say the rat was the only thing left. Say, I don't want a rat, I can re-roll. Even if there were multiple rats, if they're all the same type of animal and you don't want it, you can choose to re-roll the dice. So I've taken the wheat, that's what dice left. So then you move your marker back to beginning, but you stop on your card and it triggers. It says when activated, you gain a wheat from the bird feeder if available. There is a wheat available, so I take this out, gain a wheat. You may cash it on this card. So it means it has to go on this card. You cannot touch the food that's on your cards, but at the end of the game, it's worth 1 victory point per food you have. Also, eggs on your card at the end are worth 1 victory point. So activate that, I move it over. So the more cards you get down, the better. Not only are you going to be triggering things as you take the action, but now if I choose to take this action, my next turn, I get 2 foods from the bird feeder. So the more cards, the more reward you get for taking that action. Also, you get to trigger more things as you go along. The only thing I didn't talk about is up here, there's a little symbol of 2 random foods equals 1 food. When you're playing a bird, you can discard 2 foods to equal the 1 you need. So let's say I need a wheat and I have a fish and a worm. I can discard my fish and a worm for a wheat to pay for this bird. He goes down here. That is pretty much the game. Once you have taken all 8 of your actions that round, we score for that round. So it would be this, for this game, it's birds with a tree nest with an egg. I have a bird with a tree nest, but I don't have any egg in it. So I would get 0, then we'd score everyone else's. Now these cubes stay there. So when you start round 2, take these off your board, you have 7 action cubes to play this round. So you actually take less actions, but since you have birds down, you actually get more things for taking those actions, so it kind of equals out. By the time you start the 4th round, you're going to only have 5 action cubes to place, but you're going to have a lot more birds, a lot more things to trigger, a lot more things to do. In the expansion, it comes with this little end of round reference, which is really helpful. It tells you what to do at the end of the round. You trigger bird powers, you score the goals, you remove your action cubes, and then you move the first player token. So all in all, this game is really easy to set up and play and to teach, and I think you're going to have a lot of fun. So thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I can get it posted. And as James would say, if you could like our video and something about ringing a bell, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.